I'm Petty Officer Brian M. Brooks.
And I'm Petty Officer Kirk Putnam.
And welcome to this edition of Pacific Magazine. We're located in Shimoda, Japan right now for the 76th Annual Black Ship Festival. This festival is named for the historical event in 1854 when U.S. Navy Commodore Matthew C. Perry came to Shimoda with a fleet of 7 ships to sign the Treaty of Kanagawa on behalf of the United States, and thus opening up trade with Japan and establishing a friendship between the two countries.
Thank
you very much.
The name Black Ships, or in Japanese, Kurofune Matsuri, is because when Perry arrived with his steam-powered ships bellowing coal-fired black smoke from their stacks, it made quite the impression on the Japanese people who had never seen these, quote, giant dragons puffing smoke.
The festival itself didn't start until 1934 as a way to bring together Americans and Japanese and promote friendly relations between the two nations. Over the years, it has been attended by several different U.S. Navy ships to carry on the tradition.
Before the Black Ship Festival began, sailors from USS Shiloh volunteered at local elementary schools in the spirit of the festival. Shiloh sailors visited 6 area schools and were treated to performances by the students, like the one here at Shimoda Elementary School. The school's principal, Shizuo Usui, says this visit from the sailors has a huge impact on the children.
The children don't have much opportunity to meet foreigners, so this is one of the biggest events for them in their lives, that they can meet them and feel there are no walls between them. I want this event to be the first step for the children in building a foundation for international relations.
While this is a new experience for many of the students, the event also allowed sailors a chance to experience customs and daily activities of school-age children in Japan. The sailors spent time with the students by playing games, dancing, answering a few questions about themselves, and making kites.
Favorite part about today was having the kids help me out building the kite. Since I really didn't understand the way that they traditionally build kites, they really helped me out very well, and it was very fun, and we had some good times. I love being a part of such activities. It's a great way for us to show the good things that we as a Navy can do for the community.
15 years ago, Principal Usui started the program allowing the sailors the opportunity to visit Shimoda Elementary during the festival because of an experience that he had when he was a child.
Something deep for me is that when I was a child as a student of Shimoda Elementary School during the Black Ship Festival, we didn't have this special event, but the sailors did come and visit the school. I remember how I felt as a young boy, and I wanted to pass on those same feelings to the children of my school now.
Memories were made and laughs were shared, and the festival that inspired these moments was just getting started. Now let's hear a brief history of how this festival began.
Shimoda arriving.
Ohio gozaimasu. This is Rear Admiral John Alexander, Commander Battle Force 7th Fleet. I'm on the aft missile deck of the cruiser USS Shiloh. Right now we're anchored off the coast of Shimoda, Japan, celebrating the 76th Shimoda Black Ship Festival. For those of you who don't know a little bit about the history, 161 years ago in 1854, Commodore Perry landed on these shores with 7 ships from the U.S. and opened up trade with the Japanese for the first time. It marked an enormous time in history, and from that point on, we've been sharing an alliance with the Japanese on and off throughout the years. Right now, the Japanese-American alliance is one of the strongest in the Western Pacific and a reason for the stability and security that we have out here. So, join me in recognition of a great event, a great time in history, and an opportunity to share a great weekend with the Japanese people of Shimoda. Admiral Alexander, out of here.
Remembering those who have lost their lives in the service of their country is a time-honored tradition that transcends borders and brings people together. And as part of the Black Ship Festival, U.S. Navy sailors and Japanese citizens of Shimoda take a moment to remember U.S. sailors who lost their lives during Commodore Perry's visit to the island nation.
ペリー艦隊に来られた時にですね
When Perry arrived in Shimoda, some of his crew members died due to sickness or injury. With the signing of the new treaty, we built a burial site for them and have maintained these grave markers for more than 160 years. It's because of them we have our current U.S. and Japan relationship, so we feel it is our role to keep maintaining them now and in the future, and by doing so, we feel like we are still maintaining our good relationship with Americans today.
ですね皆さんと仲良くできればというふうに思います
Gyokusenji Temple is the site of the first U.S. consulate in Japan, but now marks the final resting place for these fallen shipmates.
I think there is a commonality among maritime nations, and part of that is honoring our dead, honoring the sailors. Part of the treaty was having the ability to intern sailors that would have died on the voyage, and that was very important back in the 1850s. It's very important now to honor our fallen. They're the first Americans who really helped shape this alliance that we have, and it continues on today, that they are honored not only by the Americans but also by the Japanese in this festival.
This memorial service shows one of the many ways these two nations have built an everlasting bond over the years and plan to keep up this sacred tradition. Having paid respects to our fallen shipmates, we now lead to the heart of the festival, where we celebrate a friendship that began more than 160 years ago.
And the black ships came to Japan in 1850.
Ever since Commodore Matthew Perry and his 7 black ships arrived at the shores of Shimoda, Japan, the anniversary of the event has been celebrated by both the U.S. and Japan.
The Black Ship Festival represents the story of how we met. Just like you remember how you met your wife, how you met your girlfriend, how you met your best friend. And sometimes in your relationship you may have had ups and downs, you've been adversaries, now you're best friends. You always remember the story of how you met. And Shimoda, where Commodore Perry came ashore and started this relationship with the United States, that is the story of how we met, the Americans and the Japanese, and we are the best of friends, best of allies today, and it's important for us to remember that.
The 76th Shimoda Black Ship Festival not only brings together U.S. and Japanese militaries, but also connects them with the local citizens of Shimoda, as it did during Perry's initial visit.
ペリー艦隊に来られた時にですね
When Commodore Perry arrived in Shimoda, the Tokugawa shogunate told us not to associate with the Perry fleet. The people in Shimoda ignored the order and mingled with them anyways. When I was a child, there were black ship festivals, and I had a great time with the U.S. Navy sailors every year. I know the Shimoda citizens look forward to seeing them at the festival. Generally, when you talk about the military, it brings up bad images of war. However, the U.S. Navy helps maintain world peace, and we have to maintain that peace with you. The people of Shimoda have strong feelings about this. Therefore, the citizens of Shimoda would like to offer them a heartfelt welcome to our city.
できればというふうに思います
This festival celebrates the friendship and respect these two nations have for each other, and both Americans and Japanese look forward to this event each year.
So it's fitting that the 76th Black Ship Festival closes out with a game that crosses cultural boundaries, Tug-of-war.
Well, it's friendly competition, but it's fierce competition. This is my first Black Ship Festival. Very exciting. Got a couple teams in the Tug-of-war event, and as you can tell, they're here to win, but it's all in fun.
The Tug-of-war tournament featured teams from all across Japan, but the matches that drew the most excitement were those between the Japanese teams and the sailors from USS Shiloh, because friendship is what the Black Ship Festival is all about.
I think this is a wonderful festival with the entire city bustling with many people. I believe if we hold more events like this and participate, we would be able to build more wonderful relationships between the U.S. military and Japan.
Both teams had victories and defeats, but both are excited to do even better next year. That does it for this edition of Pacific Magazine. I'm Petty Officer Kirk Putnam.
And I'm Petty Officer Brian M. Brooks. And from all of us here at AFM Pacific, thanks for watching.